Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Just Rolled Already. I'm your host, Daryl.
I'm your other host, Jeremiah.
I'm your special guest host, who cannot be... never mind, pass it on. Whatever.
It's
What?
Mike.
What's wrong with Mike?
Michael.
Mike, what's wrong?
Mike, like, yeah, help it.
He's having a bad day. Okay, and I'm John.
It's a psychological meltdown.
Okay, welcome to Tales from the Couch, where we tell stories and things that bug us about gaming and things that we have done in the past we're embarrassed about and or excited about. And today we're doing the worst Game Master stories possible. So
Or
today,
perhaps
who wants
best.
to... Or best.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going with one of my worst.
Yeah, worse is better anyways.
Now,
Yeah.
now we're
He
talking.
who shall not be...
Now we're talking about as a GM, right?
Yeah, as a GM.
Okay, just
Not
so everyone
not
knows.
other GMs.
We're not
ourselves.
talking about other GMs.
We're going to
'cause
debase and debase ourselves for your entertainment.
we are going to self-flagellation. That's what it is. It's I'm
Yeah,
going
we're
to get out the
confessing
chains
on the
whips.
microphones that right now we have made mistakes in the past. Big gasp.
Yes.
So who wants to spearhead this one first?
I'm still thinking of all the horrors I've committed, and I want
The atrocities.
to. And I'm like, which one's the best?
Can I throw out my biggest pet peeve for DMing, GMing?
Sure, go ahead.
My biggest pet peeve when it comes to players is the continuous, it doesn't matter, for some reason, it doesn't matter what campaign setting I run, it's always the loner, the antagonist. I'm not going to do anything with the rest of the party. I've got to have my own stuff.
I'm so emo.
Incredibly dramatic.
Yes.
I'm dark and
It
brooding.
has come to the point where I literally, in most games, will just ban the archetype.
Yeah.
So the loner is instantly axed in your games.
That is correct. You're either part of the party or you're against the
You're either for it with us or against us.
Okay, how about you tie a story to that? Why don't you?
Oh.
No.
I was running, and Jeremiah can attest for this.
Was this over at the apartments?
It was actually, I ran, it was a family game for a while.
Yeah.
With my sister, my mom, and a couple of other people.
And myself.
And Jeremiah.
Yes.
Yeah, you were there too. I saw you.
Oh, yes.
So, my sister has this just knack for making the archetype of disintegrating party.
Disintegrating party. Oh, she's
Yeah.
She would
no one
separate-
stands around your
She would
address.
separate because she would...
The party's moving along. We're going this way, and she's just
Bunny rabbit.
not having it. Not having it. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm sitting there thinking,
Screw you guys. I'm doing what I want.
Do your own thing. This is White Wolf. You do your own thing in White Wolf.
You die.
Yes.
Much like
Or you end up more messed up than you were starting.
Oh yeah, insane.
Yeah.
Which was more fun.
Okay. So I think I will do the next one. This was a Pathfinder RPG I did when I was overseas, and it was with some of my friends I made. And what we did is we made this homebrew setting. We decided no magic as a group. We were doing a rotating GM style game, and I was up to bat, and we had a fighter, barbarian, rogue, and ranger. So what happened was I made this plot. Every single session, there's a new thing going on. These were mini plots, one-shots in a continual story, very episodic-like. So I thought, and I'm like, you know what? I got a good idea. So why don't I do this? The party was going towards this town. They were going to be picking up a bounty that they got in the previous session. Along the way, they see this man frantic and out of his mind screaming for help.
Yes, this is a good one.
Yes.
Oh, I love where this is going already.
Yeah, no, this is a great one.
Yes. This is
Trust old people.
Yeah, don't trust old people. Well, he wasn't that old. And he was freaking out and everything. They say, "Sir, what's wrong with you?" And he says, "Well, my best friend was murdered and nobody's doing anything about it. And I know who did it. He got away with it and nobody's doing anything because they're too afraid of this man." And they say, "We must help him." Rah. So they go forth. They go to the town. They find the guy he described. And they go up to him and says, "Hey, you, old man." And he looks at him and goes, "What? You committed an evil act. And you shall be punished for this, and you got to turn yourself in your crimes." And he says, "I don't have to do anything you say, because I have done nothing wrong. Anyone can vouch in this town for me, so bugger off."
I've heard this one.
Yeah. It's a
That's what I
good
was
one.
saying. It's a good one, yeah.
So he turns around and starts walking away, and the rogue says, "You know what? I kill him." And I say, "What?" He says, "I'm going to go up to him," and he turns his back on me, right? And it's like, yeah, I'm going to stab him in the back. Backstab. Sneak attack right then and there. Well, roll the damage. He kills a guy in one shot. He drops to the ground in front of everybody in the town square. Guards. Instant kill in front of everybody. Broad daylight. Nothing could be done about it. Well, they get chased. They get captured. They get thrown in jail to find out the old man was insane. And they thought, what the crap? Because I should have said this earlier. They wanted to see if he was lying, so they rolled their sense motive checks, and they didn't find anything unusual because they found out this guy wasn't lying. Well, the guy was crazy. And the way I saw it is that if you're insane and you perceive something as the truth...
The sense motive DC is, like, massive.
If somebody believes their own lie, they're not lying.
Yeah.
No, they're
it's
not.
called Munchausen.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
but this whole lie thing, it's not even a lie for this guy because he perceives it. The guy suffered from a mental disorder similar to PTSD or a traumatic event that caused him to have a lapse. This old guy that was just got stabbed, he was a catalyst because he looked so similar to the guy and sent him into an episode. Well, they said, what the crap, you suck. And I described to them, how did I mess up? I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I ran a couple sessions like this before. What's up? And we spent forever debating on it, and I win.
Well, it's just showing you, like, players just jumping the gun. Like, really,
Yeah,
they didn't
well,
take the time to investigate.
No, they didn't
Yeah.
take the time to investigate, and that is that's a horror story right there, and it was a very creatively crafted plot. I mean, a lot of people already told me saying that would have been fun.
Then was the rogue stabbing old guy in back. Hey, that's always going to work in
That's
town.
a
yeah.
classic one in front of
yes.
guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, in front of guards, in front of civilians and children. Oh my gosh, you caused more mental damage to the children than anyone else.
Also, make sure, buddy and DMs, that, like, if a player just walks up and stabs somebody, you get the guards on that. Like, you really put the judicial system to them.
You bust out the laws,
Due process.
Due process,
Due process.
section 502.11F,
Don't stab a dude in the
don't-
eye.
All right, we got
kill
at least,
chickens on Friday.
Okay,
Anyway.
we got two more guys who haven't done their story. So who's
Okay,
next?
I'll go next. And I think, you were in the game, Daryl. But I'm not saying you were the worst part. My mistake and my horror as a GM. That's what I'm going for. The
Was it the flying tutu hippo part?
flying tutu. What?
The one with the time travel, right?
Yeah, but that wasn't a flying hippo.
What was it?
Okay, so everyone knows what a Jawa Sandcrawler is.
Yeah.
Well, imagine that hacked off about half its height, the same general shape.
Convertible
It's-
Sandcrawler.
No, there's still a roof to it. It's just shorter. Like you took the image on MS Paint and you smushed it down.
Oh,
Anyway,
reasonable, right.
it looks like a giant. I'm not gonna lie, it was an RV,
Yeah.
but it had the ability to use blue time magic, and it would travel through time using its engines that run on pure magic. It's not arcane nor the divine. It's not of any particular source.
It's raw magic.
It's raw magic. Anyway,
Okay.
so that right there was the problem. And the reason is, okay, I have all the party. They're all on the bus, basically. They all get on the bus in the middle of the desert, and it starts rolling. There's no getting off this thing. So it starts rolling. Somebody eventually figures out how to push the accelerator. They go forward. They're just rolling. What happens when I was like, I thought this would be a great way to, get the party to work together. Just put them all in the same room and let them all hash it out. Nope. Does not work that way. Turns out human beings like to do their own thing. You can't just put a bunch of cats in a room, expect them all to get along. Eventually one's going to claw the other one's eyes out. So, what happened was, the particular, I believe he was a bard.
Oh no!
And
I hate him.
They stopped in a town. It was being molested by... it was being immolated. It was being molested by immolation. So it was getting burned by fire elementals. Everyone gets off. They start kicking ass. They kill all the elementals. And eventually, during the combat, the paladin dies. The paladin, being the friend of the bard, weeps for him. But immediately, one of the other players starts looting the paladin.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So what happens?
Roll the corpse.
It's like, he's like, dude, he's my friend. What are you doing? He's like, what? He doesn't need it. So, long story short, they start getting back to they start walking their way back to the vessel, because it also travels on water. Yes, my own design's awesome. Anyway, and it flies. No, it doesn't fly. Time travels. Anyway, it's better.
Time flies.
Okay, so they're walking their way back to the docks. They're walking on the ship. Well, it's like the bard says to he was a gunslinger at the time. It's like, hey, I think there's something over there. So he gets over there, keel hauls him and throws him in a barrel. Throws him in the water
Wow.
to float
I remember
on a sealed barrel.
I remember that too.
Throws him in a barrel, no supplies,
That's a
just
horrible
knocked
death.
unconscious.
That's a horrible death.
He's in a river in a barrel floating down it.
And outside of his own timeline.
And outside his own timeline, because everyone else time travels away.
Kind of sounds like an episode of Death.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is a separation of party that, like, on epic proportions.
Cannot be fixed. But yeah,
Was it
that's
Doctor Who rules? Like, you cannot go back to the same timeline?
kind of.
Yeah, wow. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember that too because I think the main problem with that story is that, yes, there was no party cohesion, but also there was a lack of major plot.
Hey, that was okay. Yeah, there was a little bit of a lack of plot, but I told you at the beginning that the time holes are ripping a new one.
Yes,
in
we called them the
time
anomaly
fabric.
We call them anomaly holes,
or a-holes, as you might know.
Yes,
anomaly holes are destroying this world.
Yes, but mainly I think the main reason why that whole party thing didn't work out is because you had the annoying Twick the Bard played by Mr. Dramatic Backstory.
Incredibly dramatic backstory of himself.
Wow, it really?
It was played by him. Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
Among this group, there is incredibly dramatic backstory. If you haven't already heard,
Sir, if you're listening right now, that's brutal. That was just cutthroat. Wow, you just put him in a
yeah,
barrel.
Jeremiah says, "Wow."
Yeah, wow.
Yes, but on top of that, he also would always try to do his own thing and try to make problems, and it was obnoxious. And on top of that, he would change his character constantly. He went from Twick the Bard to Tweak the Bard to Twitch the Bard.
He really just wanted to be an annoying bard that always referred to himself in the third person. He tried to be chaotic evil by being crazy.
Yes, and now we look at it, and
I just laugh.
Yes, I laugh too thinking about it because
it's like, wow, he really keel-hauled somebody in the barrel.
I should have strapped some gunpowder to him, sent him off into the time, and say bye-bye and blow him up.
As a consolation, the gunslinger was found, but he was found at a time slightly about 10 days down the road. He's all emaciated. The bard was still on the ship. That was another interesting one. They're trying to get him back on the boat. It's like, I'm dying. It's like, I don't care. You looted my friend. So you're committing. Then as a DM, I'm like, so you're committing an act of murder
towards a once comrade.
comrade.
He did something pretty bad, but that's really a minor
He may have been
infraction.
a douche, but he's a still weapon-holding douche.
Yes, he is.
He has a gun.
So, Jeremiah, you're the only one that's left.
All right, saving the horrors for last. Okay, so this campaign, if I was to say one word to describe it, it's euthanasia, because
Oh God!
it got to a point where I put kittens in a burlap sack and threw them off a bridge because it got bad. It got so bad. These players, now what's worse about this campaign is that each of these players, there's about 4 of them. There was a paladin. All right, we had a paladin. We got a fighter. We had a bard. And we had a druid.
Wow, that's completely balanced. That's
that is
perfect.
It's
perfect.
Trinity.
It's
or not Trinity. The quadfecta of
the quadfecta.
Awesome. Yeah, it was great. But each player had at least 10 years of experience under their belt. I have been DMing or GMing for a couple of years, so it's it's the perfect storm for a good game. You're like, there's nothing wrong with this. No, each individual person had a story that they're like, no, this story is about me, and we're going to go, all right, the bard, I'm going to go north, the fighter, I'm going to go south, the paladin, I'm going east, and the druid's like, I'm going west. Like, what?
Everyone else picked the cardinal direction, I'm going the last one.
Yeah, they just randomly all decided to go in separate directions, and it's like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, this can't be, really, you guys just, it's perfect. I start you in a tavern, the most cliche setting to put them all in the same party. I did a little bit of background shenanigans to make it so they have a reason to be together, so they won't separate. But they're like, no, we are leaving. Did they do this to anger me? I don't know.
Maybe.
And much like Loan Shark getting his money back from somebody, I got pretty violent.
Started breaking kneecaps.
I had I eventually the bard's actually, you know what, I'm gonna join the paladin. They go off somewhere. I end up having them in they end up getting captured by a drow, and they end up in a gladiatorial pit. When one drow breaks a pool cue over his knee and throws it between them. I think it should end well. They should work together, take the 2 halves of the pool cue, and kill the drow. No, the paladin's like, right, kills the bard. Whoa, what? Whoa, you just
alignment change.
Yeah, now he's a freaking anti-paladin. He just lost everything. He's like, now you're a commoner. You're an NPC with levels of nothing. And he,
always blackguard.
he just threw that away. It's like, okay, now the druid's off doing his thing, and he's like,
Get mauled by a bear.
Oh, and it's like, well, he's never coming back. At this point,
He's just lost to the winds.
He's just lost to the winds, and he ended up starting a forest fire. And it's like,
started a
yes, it's
oh,
like,
that's I express how ironic that is.
And I'm like, all right, dude. try to escape, and I gave him high in DC. He angered me. I'm laying down the wrath here. I let him burn in a hollow somewhere. So we have like a paladin who shivved his bard friend. Like the bard's like, no, you take one side of the pool cue, I'll take the other pool cue. He snapped into, like, it wasn't a literal, it was the proverbial pool cue, but like they were armed and they're like, let's try and get out of here together. No. Kill the other. Like, that's how the paladin immediately said, kill the other. The druid burned the forest down. The druid needed to find a tower. So he burned the forest down to clear the way so he could see the tower.
A druid burning down a forest.
I'm like,
all the squirrels and the birds.
Like, you've been playing RPGs for 10 years, and you're a
Alignment change.
druid. Yeah, alignment change and atonement quest on the way.
Assuming you survive.
Yeah.
You know,
Survive.
the second they start going to the four winds, you should have just been devising the way that each one will die horrifically.
No, he burned in a hollow.
Like
somewhere.
Final Destination at that point.
He hid inside of a stump, and he thought, like, well, there's if a tree starts to burn, the water goes to the center of the column of the tree. Therefore, if I go inside the tree, I will be covered in water. Like, that's cool, but like,
There's a lot of fire.
a forest fire goes for like weeks, man. Like, and you're in, so it was like an easy bake oven. Like, he became a pot roast druid. It was like, wow, like this half orc just burned to its cinder. Like, okay, why would you hide inside a tree in a forest fire and start the forest fire yourself? And so, like, he's dead. Okay, now we're down to the fighter and the paladin, because the bard shivved, the druid burned, paladin slavery forever. He made no emphasis to leave. He's like, I enjoy being an indentured servant to Drow and being forced to do plentiful tasks for the rest of my days. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, I've accepted my place
I
in the
really
world.
don't want to say it, but he's kind of the Uncle Ruckus.
He's like, I've accepted my place in the world, and I am now a slave. I'm a Princess Leia like outfit. Like,
So essentially what's going to happen to this paladin, he's going to be working in the Underdark.
No. This he didn't realize I had a subplot, and it was already in place. It wasn't like I subscribed this just because he did this. I had it written down. The winner was going to be sacrificed to the champion of Loth, the one god who's like a champion of Loth, who's like the warrior of the Drow gods.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
For those of they basically sacrificed him to him. Like, oh yeah, just go to that altar over there and don't worry. And the Drider just came down and like just ripped him to pieces. I'm like, dude, like really.
There's much worse ways to end up in the Underdark.
Okay.
They have tentacles.
Here's
Yeah.
how it gets worse.
Okay, the final guy. Let's find out the final kill.
The fighter. All the other three players, they're on their go. The fighter, for whatever reason, decides... No, they've rolled, I believe, a cleric who's like necromancer type spec, a ranger, and a rogue. Alright? They're all a party. I'm like, you're starting together, and you're staying together. I'm gonna... I shackle them together. I put ankle shackles on them.
Like they're on house arrest.
Yeah, and they're like wandering down the road, and like the whole story was they like escaped some warlock's tower that was trying to use them in
Magical shackles.
profane experiments, and like they come across the fighter, and the fighter's like, "Oh, convicts, kill him." What? No, dude. And the fighter's like, "No, they're clearly convicts. They have to die." And this guy has been like true neutral through and through, and been pretty to the letter, and now he's like, "Kill him." That's straight up.
Alignment change.
He cleaved right through them. And like they're fighting and they're going through it. And what really, and this is like the whole like creme la creme cherry on top, the fighter as he's hacking through the road, just going through his tibias and his sternum and like cutting to pieces. And then like, just going through them. The cleric as a final like hoorah, even though like the fighter's on a couple health, the cleric's on a couple health, the cleric does like a dot on him. The fighter cleaves through the cleric, and then he dies of a dot. And I'm like, I just throw my papers like, all right, you're all dead. Campaign's over.
Wow.
The necromancer dotted the fighter cleaved through the necromancer, the fighter died of the disease. You guys are dicks to each other. Like, you really don't like each other. I get it. Okay.
A TPK.
I gotta say, I'm glad I saved your story for the last, because that was the most entertaining.
Yeah.
Well, I really wow, guys.
Well, there's like one more round each right now, and I think I will take the next one.
All right.
Okay. Now, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to word this one. I had a brain fart. Somebody else take it. I can't think of another one right now.
I could do another one if anybody wanted.
You got another one, Mike?
I actually do.
Go for it.
This is actually a GM story that's not of myself. It's of a former roommate of mine named Tyson,
Like the chicken?
like as in the wolf.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Tyson's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. Though he this particular campaign setting made the mistake of sending genies after our party.
Oh, yes. I've heard about this one. Yes.
So he sends 2 genies. One of them horrifically dies, and the other one is actually captured.
What's one thing you don't ever give to a player?
That would be the Metamagic Rod of Security.
Oh, wait, is that what I think it is? The security is the well, that's like 25 DC to an object and it locks it.
It's basically transports you and all the members of your party into it.
You mean sanctuary?
Yeah, it's basically...
it's security.
It's security. Well, security, it takes you to your own, like,
Dimension.
demi-plane. It's your
Yeah,
own
I know.
demi-plane.
Okay, I remember what you're talking about now.
It sends you basically to paradise.
Yeah.
For an exponential amount of time, and it's based off of the number of players that are going into it. Also, those outside of the rod cannot harm you. Also, time does not expire outside of the rod.
Hyperbolic time chamber. That's...
Well, I guess he pulled the rod inside.
So the genie who was basically subjugated within this rod of security was forced into on a daily basis upping stats.
Oh no!
Wow. So, anybody know a bit of a kobold, coming to mind here?
A little bit of poon poon.
Yeah, a little bit of poon.
Bang old poon poon.
Yeah.
So essentially, since we had ample amount of time to use this particular item, we would the game was over with. The ceiling for the game was over with.
Okay.
There was no CR sending anyone to the ER.
Okay, we send 3 Saurons. Like it's
Yeah.
3 Saurons.
Okay, pretty much just say Rock's fault, everyone dies, yippee. Okay. Now, I got my last story, and John was in it, and he might remember it. It was a Werewolf the Apocalypse game, but we based it on the Changers of the East. It was based in...
Nice.
And, yeah, it was a really fun game, and it was great for a while. It was amazing. And my wife was playing Kasune. John was playing a...
MacGuffin.
He was playing a Shadow... No, you weren't playing a Shadow Lord. You were...
Silent
Strider.
Strider.
Yeah.
Our friend Big Rudy, he was playing
The Komodo dragon guys.
the dragon
lizards.
guys, the Macaulay.
Oh, yeah,
Mokole.
yeah.
Like Moloch.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this party was going really well. They had to get this plot, trying to get these MacGuffins back. There was 5 of them, and
Needed the MacGuffins. Everyone had to have the MacGuffins. And I was Irish, so I could say MacGuffin.
yeah, and
Name myself Irish. Why not?
yeah, why not? But everyone was having fun. We're all going great. The party worked well together, and everyone's enjoying a grand old time. And there was a big, huge, giant plot, and it was not going to be a very long campaign, but it was going to be a decent length one until Mr. Dramatic Backstory came along.
Overly dramatic backstory.
Now, keep in mind, everyone here had a reason to be together. We had the Kasune, who was part of the whole conglomeration of the changers of the area. We had the Silent Strider, who was hired to act as a bodyguard as well as an info broker among the werewolves. We had the Macaulay. He was kind of a powerhouse and part of a large power structure in the entire area. This guy makes a glass walker werewolf who is an art thief who is rich, and all he does, and he says he's a pacifist.
He's a pacifist, Lupin the Third.
Something like that. Well, there was a bunch of mess ups done by John and some guy who was trying to hunt him down. He shoots an RPG at him and so on, and fails and blows his
Studio.
house. Yeah. What was his name?
Dramatic backstory.
Yeah, dramatic backstory. Who it was?
But was this the one where the pathicism just goes out the window?
Yes,
yes.
Mr. Dramatic Backstory suddenly just goes for a craze because all this art he stole suddenly just didn't matter. So he threw his entire backstory out and created another dramatic backstory by my fault, and he starts killing everything, and he throws a plot off the rails. He becomes a complete jerkwad to everybody, and he just doesn't listen to anybody.
I don't remember that he killed everybody.
No, he didn't kill the party. He killed other people.
Like important NPCs?
Important NPCs for the plot. He did all these things, and he just pretty much started trying to muscle his way through. Power game it, dominate the story, and in short, it just killed the game. I was mad. John was mad. My wife was mad. Big Rudy was mad. Mr. Dramatic Backstory was happy until I told him that nobody cared about him.
I kind of completely forgot about it. Like
Now you're
that's how it
really
ended.
angry? Are you
Now
really
I'm
angry?
kind of like I feel it burning again. I feel the MacGuffin, rage.
Walk,
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah,
walk
you-
down the street right now and
your
just punch them.
your OCD is kicking.
My
in.
OC is kicking in, and I'm feeling the MacGuffin rage. I need my MacGuffins.
Yes.
If you stop me from getting my MacGuffins
The
in the
loots.
campaign,
It's
the
all about the
loot,
loots,
the
yeah.
loot. If you stop me from getting my loot in the game, I will be mad.
Okay, and that is how the story ended with mine. That's one of my least favorite games.
Well, out of it did come a really perfect name for a character, actually.
What?
MacGuffin?
The Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin. Oh.
Mikey.
What about Macaulay Culkin?
Mr. Cook,
Yes.
do you have any fantastic stories to regale us with?
I do have a fantastic story about my early career as a DM.
You don't.
Well, okay, it's fantastic in the way that how I laugh at myself now.
Your epic fail is hilarious.
Have you heard my epic fail?
I think I have.
Okay, so 3 friends, to include Mr. Rudy. This was back in the day. I'm like, okay, sure. This is one of those campaigns where I was like, okay, sure, I'll throw the CR to the wind. Or the level adjustment. Let me put it that way.
Okay,
level
right-
adjustment to the wind.
Right there, this is
So
genuine.
I had let's just say everyone was half amethyst dragon and also a nymph and or Medusa and or
Vampire.
No, the harp strummers. They're like not quadricottle Lillians. Yeah.
Or no, they're the Lamia.
No,
No.
Lillians.
Oh, Lily. All right. No.
They're the bard muse.
Or yeah, never mind. Yeah,
They
yeah.
have wings.
Anyway, yeah, they have wings. So, starting a campaign early, didn't think too much about the DCs about things. So this was really my bad. They're in stormy weather, and because one of them has perfect flight, and actually most of them had wings because they're all half dragon. So I'm like, you're all in stormy weather. It's like raining, it's like storming, and it's like, well, we just pull the boat ashore. I'm like, well, strength check. It's like 38. What? 38. I roll natural 20 and I add my strength bonuses and then my, and it's like, okay, you pull the boat ashore because there's no way you can't pull the boat ashore and you have perfect flight because you're part deific dragon. So, I'm like, okay, the town is completely deserted. They go through the town. It's like, we search. I said, okay, you find a woman holding a child. She's crying, and the baby's crying. So they reach down. One of them reaches down and picks up the baby, and it's a rotting corpse. So he kind of like detracts from it because it's supposed to be, going for the shock factor. Because it's actually the mother was a skeleton, and it's a rotting corpse of a baby, all bloated and metal, just metal. So making this village like possessed by the undead. So the more I get through it, their perception checks were just outpacing everything I was doing.
It's adding to the theatrics.
I'm doing the jazz hands now for anyone who's listening. Jazz hands. Okay, so the
look magnificent.
anyway, the DC for all those monsters were about 5 levels under what they should have been, and it was completely fail on my
Slaughter. It
part.
was slaughter.
It was I throw them at you. It's like they're burning an explosive. Okay, we have DR. It's like I'm immune to fire. What? You're immune to force damage because you're part of this dragon. What? No, stop that. Stop it. And eventually my complete game
Alright,
just
I
crumbled.
throw 15 Demi-Liches.
I throw all the Draco Liches,
Oh.
because they're your hated enemy because your mother was in prison.
And for some reason, they're all in the same place right now.
Same place. They're all the ones making the plague. That's literally what happened. And school got in the way part of it, but yeah, it was a complete fail on my part. I couldn't keep up with it, and that's a lesson learned for later on the road. Be sure to keep your DCs in line with your character levels.
Also, like, some restrictions are duly noted.
Some restrictions are noted.
Yes, Jeremiah, it's your last story, and
Alright.
we will be wrapping this up.
And, alright, so I like horror stories. I could tell you a happy, good story about, yeah, we had a campaign that, like, lasted 8 years.
Yeah,
and
but
everybody had
everyone
cake.
hears those.
There was cake, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
no,
ice
I
cream.
like to tell, like, car crashes and the gruesome mangled corpses that come from it. So, I had a campaign. I believe we were going off of a game module. Which one in particular, I can't remember. It is one that's about... Basically, it was almost like a dungeon crawler, kind of in essence to like Diablo style. Basically, the party had to go to this forest, and they had to stop an onslaught of, I believe it was goblins. And we had...
Just goblins.
Yeah, they were stopping an army of goblins who had, I believe, like an ogre as their king or something like that.
Oh, no Draco Lich?
No. But
jeez.
it's really cliche, but this is really in the early days of my DMing career. Like, maybe the first year of my DMing career, back when I was, like... 13, I was a kid. And funny thing is, they were all like adults or in their like 20s. But anyway, I digress. So it's goblins, alright. So you alright, we had a party, we had a fighter, a bard, a rogue, a cleric. Very, very cliche party. Really cliche. Just meh. Like, it was, you couldn't get more cliche. And, everything's like, alright, base campaign, go. Alright, they're going through it now. And everything's fine until we get a 5th player in. It was this girl at the local college, whose name I won't mention for, I've forgotten it. She played a paladin, and she was the most, and it's odd, I'm like, why is she playing D&D? It was, I believe, the bard's, girlfriend or friend. I couldn't exactly put my finger on it. But she was, the most, stereotypical example of, a preppy.
Oh, she was just a total priss?
Yes.
Prissy about everything? My hair is done up in, ribbons.
No, but she was also, I don't want to be here. Why are you here, then? Because I was asked to.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times.
She would text throughout, I'm giving, dialogue.
Just be rude.
She's just texting. She would leave and go on smoke breaks, right in the middle of, combat, and we have to wait. It's her turn. It's her initiative.
Just somebody that goes completely against everything that is etiquette.
And she
being
just
nice, being courteous to others, just wasn't doing it.
She was not, and she just kept doing this. And she's like, I do this, and brr, and she will not, go with the party. She's like, I want to go off and do this. I want to raid that castle. You're lawful good. I want to raid it.
So she has the attention span of an ant.
Yeah,
less so. Sounds
you have to save the town of Woodshire from the freaking goblin horde and the ogre king.
No, I'm gonna do my nails over here.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna go rob the castle. Wait, you're lawful? No, I'm gonna go rob the castle. The goblins are attacking the main gate. That means the castle's all the soldiers in the castle at the main gate. It's unprotected. Let's go get our loots on, boys. Yeah, that's not. No, you should be up in the fray like Aragorn, storming the Black Gate. This is whatever. Okay, and it just got. She started. Just everything just broke down, and it just eventually I told her that she get out, and and she left. She's like, fine, I want to be in your game anyways. I'm very well
duly noted,
very duly noted. And to explain to the other players, the main NPC I had that was giving out the quests in the game, they're like, what happened to our paladin?
She gets raped.
No. He was like, I catapulted her. What? I catapulted her. Where? Into the sun. Catapulted her into the sun. And the guy's like, yeah, that's, and everybody's like, huh.
Did you want to be closer to Paylor?
Yeah, it was just this paladin was really, and so I just had the benefactor of the campaign just kill her off in a gruesome fashion and that was just my first experience with a player who would not
listen or care.
It's the player that would not. When you, as a DM, you will come across that player who will just...
Not anything.
Yeah, I do not gives anythings about anythings of anything.
Okay. Well, I think that should do it for our horror stories. If you have anything you want us to talk about or anything, comment below, send a message at our Gmail at justrolledalready@gmail.com. And to time this one out, I am Daryl.
I am Jeremiah.
I'm Michael, letting you know that adding a Paragon template to a Scion is perfectly fine.
And I'm John, the guy who can't seem to get everything right. Anyway.
Got that right.
Well,
quiet you.
All right, let's...